Everything according to plan. Everything according to God's perfect plan to fulfill His appointed time perfectly. My friends, we are at the precipice of glory, at the greatest event since the cross of Jesus Christ. We are about to witness and take part in. I want to encourage you to prepare yourself to be ready at all times. His appointed time, His plan is absolutely perfect. Everything you see happening according to His plan. The great falling away from the faith, again, according to His plan. He gives everyone the same opportunity to choose Him or to not choose Him, to follow Him or to not follow Him. For He is a gracious and loving God, and He will never force anyone to follow Him if they choose not to. What a beautiful and glorious God we serve. The Father in heaven loved you so much that He sent His only Son to save you, to pay the price with His own blood, to redeem the human race back to the Father that was lost in the garden, that was surrendered and handed over to our adversary in the garden. This event in which we are waiting for, the event that Christ's followers call the Rapture, is a biblical term for an event that will take place. Rapture is derived from the Latin rapio, rapturo, in the original language in which these final books were wrote in. Harpazo. This could be found in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, and you could find it as the catching away or the caught up event. This is also recorded in 2 Thessalonians, as well as discussed in great detail in the book of Revelation, as well as throughout Scripture, when you have eyes to see, when you have ears to hear. My friends, I want to tell you a story. So there was a great man, a wise man that planted a vineyard. And as he planted that vineyard, he tilled the soil and he fertilized it, he nourished it and watered it. And as the years went on, it grew, and the roots grew deep, and the branches, the stalks of that vineyard grew strong. But in the midst of this, thorns and thistles grew up along with the vineyard, with the plants that he planted, with the effort that he put in. The weeds began to choke out and surround that vineyard, those plants. So as the harvest time grew near, that wise man sent out into the fields to prepare for the harvest. So he sent his workers, and the workers were doing everything they could to try to keep the thorns and the thistles and the weeds at bay, but they continued to come. And then as the harvest drew near, just days away from the harvest, he told his workers to go out and to weed as much as possible, so that when the harvest takes place, that the weeds and the thorns and the thistles would not be harvested up with the actual harvest. And so those workers went and they weeded and they weeded and they weeded, and over a couple days' time, they were able to get all of the weeds up, all of the thorns and the thistles away from the harvest, away from the plants that were planted and tilled and nourished and watered by the wise farmer. However, after that day came and they were ready to harvest, the farmer, the one who ordered his servants to go out and begin to weed, noticed there were still some weeds lingering. And because he wanted his harvest to be pure, he wanted his harvest to be completely free of any sort of infectious weed. Just days prior, he went and they plucked up the rest of the weeds that were lingering. And now as the harvest day draws near, the pile of weeds that sat there, they asked, "Master, what do we do with these weeds?" And he says, "Gather them up and burn them. For when I harvest when the harvest comes, I don't want these to infect the remainder of the harvest that's to come, the harvest that I'm going to go and remove." So all those weeds were separated away from the actual harvest for the healthy and strong plants. And he did notice as he was preparing for the harvest that there was some plants that were kind of diseased and maybe got infected by the weeds and the thorns and the thistles and actually choked out those plants. And so they said, "Master, what do we do with these plants that were choked out, that the weeds got a hold of and even killed? These plants are diseased and they're not producing any fruit. What do we do?" And the master said, "Don't harvest those. Don't harvest those plants, for the weeds and the thorns and the thistles took root inside of them and strangled them and took away what they had, took away the nourishment that they had after the harvest. We will leave those plants behind and we'll nourish them. We'll nourish them for 3 more years after the harvest. And if they do not grow, when the final harvest comes in 3 years, cut those plants down and burn them along with the weeds." So the day the harvest came, and the workers went out and harvested the vineyard, harvested the fields, harvested the earth. The weeds were burned, and the sickly plants were left. The master said, burn the fields, in the hopes that through that refining, through that fire, that the plants that were sickly and were taken over by the weeds and the thorns and the thistles will grow. So that's what they did. They burned the fields after the harvest. 3 years later, some of the plants grew and were ready to be harvested. Some were able to resist the bad weather that came. Some were able to resist those who wanted to try to come and take and rob the fields. Some of those plants died. They died in the fire. Some of the plants died because the weeds and the thorns and the thistles came back. But a few of those plants were able to be harvested and finally brought into the master's house. My friends, we are witnessing this event as we speak. The harvest is ripe and the workers are few. Do not allow those around you to infect you. Do not let their weeds grow and choke you out. Do not let the thorns and the thistles kill what the Master has planted. For the day of the harvest is now. The day of the harvest has come. Prepare yourself. Prepare the way of the Lord. Prepare the way of the bridegroom. For he comes and he will swing his sickle and the earth will be harvested. Right after the harvest, the fire comes upon the earth. I want to encourage you, if you've allowed weeds and thorns and thistles to choke you, to begin to kill what the Master had planted, what the wise man had put in motion. I want to encourage you and stress with everything I have. You must get up right now and run back into the arms of Jesus Christ. Do not allow what just took place to affect you. This is all according to the plan of the Father in heaven, to the plan of Jesus Christ, for he wants a pure bride. He wants a pure follower that loves him and is unwavering, that does not allow the weeds and the thorns and the thistles of this world to choke them out. I love you guys. Jesus Christ is on the horizon. He is coming to harvest the earth. He's coming to remove you. Do not fall away. Prepare yourself. Dress yourself in white. Cleanse your garment. May your vessel be full of oil. For those who were wise, the wise Christians who allowed and made sure that their vessels were full of oil, that their light was shining brightly, will go into the wedding feast. Those who were foolish and allowed their oil to run dry and their light to go out will be shut out of the wedding. I love you guys. We're at the doorstep of eternity. Do not squander these last few days. We are right there. We are right there. The timeline is still the same. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The prophecy, the encounter that our fellow worker Joshua received It's still going to happen. It has not happened yet as the making of this video. I will paste in the comments. There was a lady that the Lord showed the true calendar, which we were always supposed to follow, but you know what? We've been trying. All those who were the calendar nerds that were out, where are you guys at? This was your call. This is your commission. You're here to help us. Each one of us has a different call. If your call was all the calendar stuff, please make sure you're hitting that heavy right now. I saw in the past a lot of things come up on my feed about the calendars and about the Enoch calendar and everything, and you guys are silent now. What's happening? It'd be nice if we had this information that so many wouldn't have fallen away, but this is according to his plan, the plan of the Father, the plan of Jesus Christ, to weed out everyone that was never supposed to enter in. My friends, this is your last opportunity to prepare yourself. So I will post the Enoch calendar as far as we know. And again, I'm not the calendar nerd. I'm not the calendar expert. You guys this is your ministry, you need to step up right now. We are one part of a larger body. This is not my call, but I've been trying to look into it. It looks like it's right there. It looks like it's next week. It's always been next week, as far as we can tell. It has never changed. The prophecy that Joshua gave is correct. Everything is pointing to that. If we go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 years from now, and then we could say, you know what, this wasn't right. We're at the end of time. The timeline is correct. We are at the doorstep of eternity. Prepare yourself. Prepare the way of the Lord. He is coming to harvest the earth. The thorns, the thistles, and weeds will be burned up. The sickly plants, most of them will be burned up. The few that are left behind to hopefully go after the fire, to hopefully grow after the fire, they burn the fields. A few of those will be harvested. My friends, we are right there. Jesus Christ is coming. Prepare yourself. He is coming to harvest the earth. He's coming for a pure bride. He's coming for those who honestly and actually and truly want to be with him. Unwavering, rooted on the rock of Jesus Christ, not on the shifting sands of this world. Be ready. Our bridegroom comes. He's going to harvest the earth and remove those who are eagerly waiting for him.